Capucine.
Paul,
Yes,
it's that time of year. As you
it's
can
that time of
hear,
year.
I am working through mail
Mail?
from our raving
Mail.
fans.
Wow, it's that time again, isn't it? It must be
Yes,
the last episode of this season.
of cycle 3.
Yeah,
So, as per usual, we've got some questions coming
we
in.
have burning questions, right?
Yeah.
From our raving fan, plural.
Yes. Good catch.
Yes, yes,
Good catch. I think we've added a few.
yeah, yeah. So she
Yeah.
wrote 4 questions? No. Yeah,
The raving fan. No, we do have
yeah,
some interesting inquiries. Some
yeah.
some pondering type questions as well.
And ponderous and ponderosas. Yes,
That's right.
we have all
They're all
kinds of.
they're all in there.
Yeah, and I couldn't even figure out which ones to cover first because they're all good. So, and they don't really
They're
relate
all good,
to each other, but I'm sure they do.
and they all weave themselves into the others.
All
So
right. Well,
here
let's
we
get
go.
to it then.
Raving questions and hopefully raving answers. Here we go.
All right. So, what questions do we have on the roster for today? You want to reach into the mailbag and
I
here's the
do.
mailbag.
There you go.
Oh, here's one right here.
What is it, Paul? Do you want me to read it or
Um,
you?
you go ahead and read it and I'll ponder.
Well, this one has to do with our one of our sound and vibration episodes.
Oh, good.
So the question is synchronizing with consciousness and synchronizing in consciousness. Please elaborate. I'm going to repeat that.
Synchronizing. Okay.
Synchronizing with consciousness and synchronizing in consciousness. So we must have said that.
Hmm. Okay.
And yeah,
Did you say it? Did I say it? I don't know.
well, one of us did
Yeah.
in episode 22 of cycle 3.
Hmm.
What do you, what did we
Maybe it
mean?
was
What did
part
we
of an
mean by that?
intuitive report. I think that episode had some intuitive reports or references to intuitive reports.
Yes.
So I've heard phrases like that. So yeah, let's dig into that. First of all, synchronizing. Um, we did a lot this season with harmonizing, synchronizing, aligning with, um, like the just whacked my microphone there. Bigger things like the bigger movement of consciousness or the bigger evolution of consciousness and going with it, like going with the plan of creation. And right off the bat, I think that's what it's talking about. Like consciousness as a whole experience, not
Mhm.
necessarily your individual consciousness, but like your your frequency is becoming more compatible and well, we describe synchronizing frequencies as multiples. We talked about multiples and harmonics in one of the episodes. So I would think synchronizing with consciousness would be your individual thoughts and habits and attitudes and your vibration is now becoming like a multiple of the grand frequency of human consciousness, which has some kind of core frequency to it. I don't know what that core frequency is, but I think any frequency can have a compatible harmonic convergence with it. Like, you sing a note in A, and there are many notes that are compatible with A. Um, and then you can also sing a matching A an octave higher or an octave lower, or 2 octaves higher or 2 octaves lower. But those are compatible, and so those would be synchronizing. This is a very heady sort of answer, but
Well, it is heady. So do you mind if I
yeah, see
reel
if
you
you've got some
back in?
examples about that.
Here's an example. I have two of them. Think of consciousness as your family unit Or I think all of us have in some of our experience been to a concert, right?
Yeah. Okay.
Okay.
I see where you're going with this.
So, all right. So you've got two different forms of consciousness. So a family unit functions, um, can function in a more synchronizing, harmonious manner
Mm-hmm.
where, hey, here's how we're all going to have dinner together, or
We're of
here
one mind or something.
we're
Yeah.
one, yeah, here's how we little a little group kind of works together. Or in a concert, the music is great, you're feeling it, you know all of the words,
Mm-hmm.
and this big massive group of people are like, oh, the musicians are feeling it, they're receiving, I mean, everyone is like, they're in the meld.
Yeah.
So there's the individual in the family story, you are with this group consciousness, but when you're actually participating in it,
Oh, yeah. There you
there's
go.
an inness.
Yeah.
There's an inness in the experience of the concert. You are with this big, big,
Mm-hmm.
big, hum, hum, whatever it is.
Yeah.
The people next to you. I mean, you're just all together, but the individual is now in it because you've also been to a concert where someone's not, they're with it,
Mm-hmm.
they're
But they're
with the
checking their
consciousness,
phone and they're like,
but they're,
yeah,
yeah, they're checking their
it's a
phone.
good
They'd
song.
rather be
Yeah.
someplace else. They're in and out, right? They're
Yeah.
moving in and out of it. So you're with it and you just can't, you're with it,
Mm-hmm.
you're part of it. And that is, I think, when you're synchronizing, you are with it because it is there. And then the in it is when you are completely immersed
Yeah.
inside it
You're one of it.
and
Yeah.
you know the difference
Yeah.
and you can describe the difference.
I just thought of another example while you were saying that. Um, Going on a float trip and you're in your canoe and you're having fun and you're going with the river, right? You're in your canoe, you're with the river, but you're not in it until you capsize and you splash into the water. Now you're in the river of consciousness. You're now wet, you're soaked, you're like part of the river at that point. But before you're going with the current and you're synchronizing with the speed of the river.
Mhm.
So that can be another example, another visual.
Yeah.
And so, how do you get to that point in your life? That would be another question, a follow up question.
Follow up
How do
question.
you get to that point of synchronizing with consciousness or being in that flow with the group or with the family or with the river?
Well, I have another follow up before that follow up
All
question.
right. Then
The
I'll follow up on
before
your follow up.
follow up to the prior follow up that Paul had,
Follow up?
which is, I think one would need to be, it's best for a person to be aware first before you can even say, how can I be with it?
Mm-hmm.
So I think awareness again comes back into play of where am I in this consciousness?
Yeah.
Am,
Am I
am,
lost in this
mhm,
flow or am I still aware of my individuality inside of this flow?
right.
Yeah, that's a
Because
good
even
point.
asking that question will automatically put you into this place of consciousness, a different
Mm-hmm.
place of even asking that question. Am I even aware that I'm synchronizing with consciousness? Am I even
Yeah.
aware of, am I with my family unit right now?
Yeah.
Am
Or
I,
asking, like, how am I not
how am I, that's
synchronizing
right.
and how am I out of harmony with my family versus how can I get back in harmony with this group or with this flow of consciousness?
Right. So I have a family example, not my family unit, but a relative family unit where they have a lot of siblings. And there's one of those siblings where I would say all of the other siblings have an issue with that sibling.
Okay.
That's that particular sibling is the youngest. She's the rumbler of it, goes against the tide.
Mm. Ooh,
So,
that was me. Mm.
right. So she is like totally bucking the consciousness of
Yeah.
the way that family functions. And if you were to ask the disruptor, I'm going to call her the disruptor, she's in her flow. She's in her flow of consciousness,
Hmm.
right? So she, it may not be the flow of the family, but it's in the flow of whatever it is, wherever she is,
Yeah.
and cannot see that because she's not even aware that her flow of consciousness is out of sync of the rest of the family.
Yeah.
Then
Yeah.
there's the discord, right? So there's an individual consciousness that you can defend, you can say this is the way it is,
Hmm.
and unless you have a little insight to an awareness at other forms of consciousness, the extended family, um, is not seen it that same way, there's always going to be a discord.
Hmm.
So then she's not, has not up to this date ever asked the question, how can I be in discord or what is my part in this? She's not asking that, nor probably some of the other family members. So it becomes two groups of consciousness that are pointing the finger at the other group of consciousness.
Yeah.
So is it, I don't think that this question is about, is necessarily, I think it's asking that bigger question about
Hmm.
synchronizing with consciousness and synchronizing in consciousness.
Well,
But I,
that
right.
brings up this touches on one of the other questions here, because we are not small creatures. We are not small beings. We are huge beings, huge light beings, powerful light beings. Like, you could think of us, each individual is like a planet, and we have gravity, and we have influence, and um, we have consciousness that is individual, but it's also part of um,
Yes.
a system and a matrix, like in a family. And anytime one of these giant beings and this planet is, you can think of in astrology terms, you could have opposition, or you could have
Conjunctions.
conjunctions, or
Hmm.
you could have, yeah, these different aspects of these planets in the solar system of the family. There's going to be influences.
Hmm.
There's not really a wrong or right. It's just like
Right.
where the position is creates a
Yes.
tension or a harmony
Hmm.
with what's going on. Same at a concert, same in flowing with a river. So,
Right. And I
um,
think the term here is synchronizing.
yeah, I think
So,
what happens is people get fixed on being right, like attached to, yeah, but I'm the right one. I'm the one who's in the right in
mhm.
this family structure, and everybody else is wrong. Or the whole family is like, we're in the right, and that one person
Why can't you see my
is in the
point?
wrong. Why can't
Yeah.
they synchronize with? Yeah,
Yeah.
so there's
Hmm.
there's some ego involved in not synchronizing,
Right.
whether it's political or religious, or just habits and patterns and traditions. Uh, there can be that angular discord that's going on, or just ego discord. That's, I'm right and you're wrong.
And I believe that the best way to answer the bigger question of synchronizing with bigger consciousness, like the mystery part of it, right? And
Hmm.
synchronizing with and in consciousness, I think the best way to answer that for yourself is to begin with yourself. How are you, how do you do that? How do you as the
Mm.
individual
Yeah.
participate in your own world of consciousness, whether it's your
Am I
family,
lined
your
up?
work,
Yeah. Yeah. Am I
your
lined up
family, your
within
work,
myself?
with the political views, with how are you doing that? Or how are you? And then take it from there. And then
Hmm.
keep asking yourself other questions.
Hmm.
So that's it. That's how I would answer that question.
Hmm. Yeah. How to synchronize. I'm sure we covered it in other episodes
Hmm.
of how to, through meditation and through yoga and through,
So many.
yeah, contemplation and pausing and stillness. And
Yeah.
those are all ways to start synchronizing within yourself, and when you're synchronized within yourself, then you're automatically starting to synchronize with the bigger systems.
Yeah, that bigger mystery will start not seeming so big
Hmm.
and ominous.
and and also continuous, like,
Hmm.
oh, I am part of this, I'm not separate, I'm actually part of this flow and
You're
part
part
of
of
the
it,
river.
and you're a contributor.
Yeah.
You do, like you said it earlier, you had an influence.
Yeah.
Well, that kind of leads us to one of the other questions. I don't know. They're all because
Hmm.
again, they're all going
Yeah,
to
we can skip
overlap a
around.
little bit.
Yeah.
Okay, question number two.
All right, I'll read this one. I want to hear what you say about this.
Oh
Are
God.
there
Okay.
large scale electromagnetic or plasma influences on humans? Are there large scale electromagnetic or plasma influences on humans? That must reference to the plasma episodes we did.
Okay. Let me answer this first by saying um, the word electromagnetic and plasma. Uh, always want to refer to you
I
immediately,
knew it.
Paul.
Yeah. Yeah.
However, I am going to break it down to how I'm understanding that question.
Yeah.
Okay, so first of all, are there large electromagnetic or plasma influences on humans? So that's a yes or no question,
Yeah, we could answer that in 3 seconds.
right? So the answer
Yes.
for me is yes, there are
Yeah.
electromagnetic and plasma influences on humans, in humans, around humans, right? In and through. Um, and what is a large scale electromagnetic? What is that? What is that
Probably having to do
anyway?
with planets or the sun, maybe like
Hmm.
sunspots or solar
Right.
flares. Could be.
Okay.
Yeah.
So so I'm going to say yes. So moon cycles.
Oh, good point. Yeah.
I'm It's another really good example of having an influence just on the biology of a woman, a female. I
Hmm.
mean, these, just the moon cycles and the menstrual cycles. I mean, so I'm going into the biology of that. So I think there's a family unit. I was raised with nothing but girls. And so there was this other magnetic influence where all of us were cycling at the same time.
Okay.
I mean, these are just, again, when I look at big questions like this, I always try to bring it down to how it relates to me in
Yeah.
in this time period in an experience. So when I think of electromagnetic, I think yes, there are influences that exist, and it exists in very specific everyday ways, such as what I just described. It also exists in, like I call it, like a little subtle nudging, like a little. Sometimes it's so pokey that it irritates you, so you
Mm-hmm.
become irritable. Or gosh, I don't know why today I woke up like a grouch, but I did. I
Mm-hmm.
think that's an influence. Or let's see, another way would be on animals. When animals start noticing and you start paying attention to how animals are are responding to different sounds. Like my dog Mia her ears will perch up, or she'll all of a sudden she'll like, what's out there? What's that thing that I heard? So it's not just on humans, but on all living beings that I think we have these influences.
Yeah.
But the big universe out there, I don't. I think we would be silly to think that there's not an influence that has just on one human or all of us,
Yeah.
because this energy collides together. I mean, just even me putting my hands together, right? I can feel something in between that space.
Yeah.
So yeah, there's going to be a domino effect and it's going to hit. Paul, what does Paul Madar have to say about that question?
um, yeah, when you were talking, I realized, yeah, the little small influences are really a hologram of the macro influences. So just cells. next to each other have an electromagnetic influence. So if the tiniest things of life are influenced with electromagnetics, then most likely as they assemble into bigger and bigger and more macro structures, then we are influenced by electromagnetics. Um, Plasma influences might be outside of ourselves, they might be inside of ourselves. So your thoughts and your emotions can be seen as this electromagnetic influence that you're generating yourself with thoughts and attitudes and
Mm-hmm.
within your system, your own system. And
Mm-hmm.
that's going to it'll influence your genetics, your DNA structure and what genes are turned on and turned off and muted or boosted. It'll change how you hold yourself, and that'll change your spinal alignment and therefore your synchronization. So yeah, it can be internal, and then it can be these other outside influences, like through nature, like you're walking through the woods and the the negative ions after a rainstorm that are still swirling around, haven't been absorbed by the leaves and the trees and the grass. Those have an influence on your consciousness, on how you think about the day. Um, and then giant things like sunspots and solar flares we know that they can blast satellites out of the sky. So
A lot of power. Yeah.
yeah, so sure, there is a certain amount of radiation that can reach all the
Mhm.
way down to humans and influence our DNA to mutate. There's punctuated equilibrium or punctuated evolutionary spikes that happen from these giant solar influences.
Yeah.
Um, there were
Sorry,
some
Paul.
really
On the
cool
table there.
studies that NASA did. I think it was NASA. They commissioned some scientists to look at the angles of planets and the influence on our planet with electromagnetics and various frequencies. And they actually found a difference when the planets were in particular alignment with each other. They found there was a correlated difference in the electromagnetics that our planet experienced. And that was an actual scientific study that was done. It's not just woo woo astrology
Mhm.
stuff. So I think that's just as fascinating stuff. I would probably redefine this question as, are there large scale quantum influences on humans? And absolutely. That's
Mm.
kind of what we're really investigating through this show and these episodes, is these quantum connections that we can describe as electromagnetic or plasmic or uh, consciousness, but it's kind of all saying the same thing, that there's this connection and a weaving.
Right. And then I go back to the first question, which is synchronizing
Mm-hmm.
with and in that consciousness, or let's call it synchronizing with and or
Within.
in that electromagnetic influence.
Yeah. Let's snap those two together and call it within
Yeah,
consciousness.
that's
Yeah.
right. Yeah, it's
Within.
all, yeah, they're not separate, but can you hear Mia just barked?
No, can't hear her.
Yes, thank
You got
you.
a good microphone. That's
I've
why.
got a super good one, but boy, she's
Yeah.
just speaking of an influence she just had. She's alerting me to something that's outside,
And your ears perked up.
and my ears perked up because she did
Yeah.
that. Um, okay, yeah. So the answer is yes to
Yeah.
that question.
Yeah. And look for it. That's the
Mhm.
fun of life on this planet, is looking for these quantum connections and looking for these electromagnetic influences. And
Well, so
it,
the answer is yes, but let's add that word that you said, Paul. The answer
the,
is yes
the
to the
quantum,
question, are there large scale
electromagnetic,
elect
or plasma influences, column quantum influences. Is that,
okay.
is that the word you're talking about?
Yep, that's the word you said.
All right. Yeah. That's in our title too. So
There
yeah.
you go. All right, ready, Freddie?
You got the next one.
Paul, please do this. Please do this.
What's that?
Will you please,
Oh.
pretty please, will you please analyze and discuss past, present, and future?
Hmm.
Is
Okay.
time an illusion? Wait, there's more. Is
Okay.
it possible to access the past or the future? I'm going to read it one more time. Will you
Okay.
analyze and discuss past, present, and future? Is time an illusion? Is it possible to access the past or the future?
Hmm. Okay. All right. I'll start.
Go for it.
Um, I personally don't think time is an illusion. I think there is actually something to time. It I think it depends on your perspective and your it's like the level that you're looking out through. Um, well, such as if you're looking at your life in terms of arranging things, people, places, and things in your life, then you are going to have an experience of time. Absolutely. Because there's finite resources around you. You have these friends and you don't know those people, and you have to travel from here to there, and there's distance. And anytime you have separation or the perception of separation, I think you're going to have an experience of time.
Okay.
So I think it's perception related. So if you're at like we call it the sixth level, seventh level of consciousness, is the conscious mind's perspective. You're looking out through your eyes and you're seeing, I'm over here, you're over there. I got to get this done today and run these errands and make these phone calls. All of that is separation related because
Mhm.
I got to accomplish this thing that is not accomplished yet. So that's where time comes in. And physicists would say distance is related to the rate of change, and time is directly related to rate and time. But if you go up a level or a couple of levels into subconscious mind, then you're looking out through life through a different set of eyes. You're starting to see things as kind of all a blend of movement and motion and connectedness, and that's all that electromagnetic plasma quantum blah 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 stuff. Then you don't have as much of an experience of time. So there it would seem like time is an illusion, perhaps. And that's why I think people say, oh, time is an illusion. You might have just blipped up into the dream world, let's say, or the in between, or a connected zone perspective on things. And then you'd say, oh, you know what? Time is just an illusion. Not really. Not if you click down a notch and into, I got to get stuff done. Then you're back into the time based realm, the physical realm. So is it possible to access the past and the future? Yeah, absolutely. We call it memory and we call it imagination. In this physical, the conscious mind's perspective, we see it segmented, right? We see past as segmented, a different thing that happened yesterday. And then we see future as a thing that's going to happen tomorrow. But you go up a level into subconscious mind, and past and future, they start merging, and there's a continuum that is accessible then. And it's not even so much memory as um, it's a vibration, and you can synchronize with that vibration of past and present.
Mhm.
There's a really cool concept of changing your past. Like, oh, you can't change your past. Well, you can kind of. Like if you within that subconscious mind perspective, if you take a journey, like a shamanic kind of journey, back to an event and relive that event fully and completely and change your perspective on that event. Maybe it was a trauma of some sort. And in that moment, you change your perspective of that happening, you can actually change that event and it ripples all the way forward into your present circumstances, even into your physiology, into your genetics, into your attitudes and
Mhm.
behaviors. And you can therefore change the future. You can change the future trajectory of what might have otherwise happened karmically and
Yeah.
dharmically. That was fun. What do you say?
What do I say? Well,
What
I
do you want to add
say,
in there?
I agree, I agree, I agree. That's what I'm going to say in short. I'm going to answer the question, which is time and illusion.
Hmm.
Is it possible to access the past or the future? So I'm going to say yes and no. Is time an illusion? Yes and no. Is it possible to access the past or the future? Yes and no.
Yeah.
Leaning more towards the yes, but the no part comes, or excuse me, the yes part is it comes from, it depends on your perspective.
Hmm.
The no part comes from, you have to elaborate a little bit more about how you mean past, present, and future.
Yeah.
So I think you said it. I'm just going to probably say it just slightly different in my own words, which is, um, I believe the way this question is asked, it's being asked primarily from a conscious level perspective, meaning our day to day life perspective.
Hmm. Hmm.
So this question is knows that 8 o'clock is 8 o'clock in the morning is time to either get to work, feed the kids, whatever 8 o'clock in the morning means to you, right? So there's not an illusion to that. It's actually, you're actually living it in this time frame. You also may have woken up at 6 o'clock in the morning. So you have this, what, 2 hours difference of time.
Yeah.
It's
Yeah.
not an illusion. You experienced that time frame.
Yeah.
You had experiences within that 2 hour
Yeah.
difference.
Things actually happened
Things
in
actually
sequence.
happened.
Right.
That's right. Um, so, so I'm trying to answer this question from a very physically material based perspective. And that perspective is, yeah, there can be an illusion to it. But yeah, no, it can't be. And can you access the past and the future in this material, very physically based time? You can access it, but then you got to access your imagination, your memory.
Hmm.
Um, but as you said, now let's jump into, um, totally eliminate the physical world now and the material world. We're just eliminating that for now. And we're asking this question from an inner level perspective. So now the
Yeah.
perspective is changed. And that perspective allows us a lot more freedom with this question
Yeah.
because we're not bound to anything. We're not bound. We're flying, we're free, we're navigating. Like you said, we can go back to a past experience. The experience still exists. We can't change the experience because it happened, but we can change our perspective on it. So in that
Yeah.
sense, yeah. And so the illusion you're now dismantling is the perspective you had on that experience.
Yeah.
So the
And that's
illusion,
that may be the only thing that really matters too, is
yeah,
your experience of that event.
that's it.
Hmm.
Yeah, right. So, and
Yeah.
then I'm going to go to other levels, which I'm not saying I'm an expert on, but I can imagine that, planetary travel, um, people that are not living on this earth, but maybe in another category of dimension,
Hmm.
right? They're existing right now. I believe that they're existing right now in this time, in my time frame, in my imagination they are.
Yeah.
But their time is probably very different than mine.
Yeah, like if they've got a foot in both worlds, like
Yeah,
they can easily move between subconscious and conscious,
right.
their experience of time is going to be very different as
Very
well.
different,
Yeah.
right? Because they've got a different type of experience and exposure to that, to navigating through those interfaces,
Yeah.
right?
I sometimes ponder, you every night you lie down in your bed and 10, 15 minutes you're into sleep, right? Hopefully.
Yeah.
And 6, 7 hours later, you wake up. 6 or 7 hours later, boop, what happened? It feels like, it just went that fast,
Hmm.
just like a
Yeah, you,
blip.
yeah, you
Six or
traveled
seven
somewhere.
hours.
Hmm.
So that points to this illusion of, is this an illusion? I think it's because of the shift. You shifted into subconscious mind in sleep,
Hmm.
and therefore your experience of time is very different. So if we want to do interstellar travel, we have to practice and get better at shifting into that inner level zone where time is warped, time is we just experience time differently and then plopped back down into the physical. I still think that's part of these UAPs, these UFOs that we see as or alien creatures. We haven't really talked a lot about that, but I think there's some skill with interdimensionality that's going on there.
Yeah.
Whether they're other beings or whether they are us or whether they're man-made, I don't think it matters as much as the coolness of being able to shift into a different dimensionality and then shift back down into physical and then shift up and down and up and down. That's that's slick. I think we're just at the very, very, very
Mhm.
front end of that as humans. We're just starting to explore that ability
Yeah.
consciously.
Well, here's an experiment for that exploration. Um, I have done this, and it's a wondering that I have. So when I wake up, I've slept and I'm ready to wake up. There's that little space right in between when you have come from the sleeping mode to the awake material conscious mode. And I have experienced the flood of conscious thoughts that just, whew,
Oh, yeah.
like they come in so quickly. Whew. And I remember it's like, I'm trying to keep you at bay because I don't
Yes.
want to be in that world right now.
Right. It's almost disappointing to
But I've had the
be
thought
confronted that.
of, I've had that thought, or even that is a thought, the thought that I'm aware that the
Yeah.
flood of the conscious world, everyday world is coming into play right away.
Yeah.
And it's like, where did that space go? Where did that space, I call it the emptiness go that is still alive, but it's not consciousness in the everyday life, and it's still consciousness.
Yeah. It's a different phase
It's
of consciousness. It's
so that's an
thicker.
experiment I would offer our
Yeah.
listeners is that's one of them is just pay attention to that in between space of from that you go from sleeping to awake. And a way to
Yeah.
do that is don't put an alarm clock on. I've never woken up to an alarm clock. I've not done that. So I don't do that at
Hmm.
all. So I don't have that disruptor coming in that jars me out of the sleep mode.
Yeah.
And anyway,
And you
that's
and you're right. That's how you can wake yourself up is just start thinking. Like, oh, thinking of I got to get up for this
I've
and I
got
got
to
to
get
do
up for
that and I got to
this. I
do
got to
this
do
and I got to do that.
this.
You
It'll
go
take
down
me
your
this
list
much
of
time to
things
do
to do.
this. So you're
Yep.
already right.
That will pull you into
Mm-hmm.
the physical world and time-based reality. Yeah.
Yeah. Yep.
Meditation is another,
Mm-hmm.
you don't have to just go to sleep, although I love sleeping. Oh my God, that's my favorite time of the day
It is
is
nice,
when I
isn't it?
actually get to go to sleep. But
Yeah.
meditation is very similar to that, where you're pausing the
Mm-hmm.
thinking and therefore you're pausing that time-based reality just for a little while
Mm-hmm.
and it's suspended and you get to shift up
Right.
to a higher perspective. It's like going up to the second floor or even up a mountain and you get to see a little farther and it's like, oh, wow, look at that sunset. Yeah. Calm, relaxed, and elevated
Mm-hmm.
perspective. We can do that anytime. You
Right.
can just shift up to a higher perspective.
Right.
And I think as humanity, we're starting to collectively get better at that.
Hmm.
It used to be pretty fringe for people to do that individually, but as groups, we call that religious experiences, right? You'd
Right.
get this ecstatic experience or some kind of divine intervention or miracle or divine experience. But I think all of those are just
That's
higher
it.
level experiences.
That's right. And every person has that ability. So practice doing something every day where you are experiencing that differential.
Yeah. I think the key element is pausing the thinking because
Hmm.
that's the suction that
Hmm.
brings you down into the time-based reality.
Yeah. And I think
Mhm.
that's going to help answer this other question, which is pretty big for most people, which is
Yeah, why is it so difficult to change my habits and adapt to a new schedule and structure? What is interfering internally that blocks positive change? That is such a good question
it is.
because everybody wants to change something in their life. Everyone wants to be a little bit different here, be a little bit different there. And what is it that that gets in the way of doing that? What do you what do you think about that?
Wow. Well, I believe that as we're experiencing this human life, that's part of what we will be doing till we take our last breath in this body, is examining how to, oh, I'm going to use some corny words here, how to be better, um, do different,
Hmm.
um, learn
That's
from
kind of the
something that,
quest of us is
yeah, I do.
betterment. Yeah.
I think that there's something there in all humans that I think that's just part of our schooling.
Yeah.
Our we're here to really understand that for ourselves. And so we use the word change, right? So we
Yeah.
use the word change in structure. Well, I think new we've got a couple of wonderful things that are happening that I've observed with new parents nowadays. Um, my mother and my father, you and I have spoken a little bit about this before. They were not as aware or awake or present to the individual growth or development of their children. They my parents operated on habit. This is what my parents did, or this is what someone said I should do, or this is only what's working for me, so you've got to do it the same way I did.
Hmm. Or these are the
Um,
traditions in
these are
our
the
family or
traditions we've
culture.
had, so we have to
Yeah.
do this or that. And I'm not saying that's good or bad. It is how I was raised and how they operated. And I've seen a wealth of new parents nowadays that are much more open and receptive to who is this little being that I have here. They're
Hmm.
curious about their children. They're they want to be better themselves,
Yeah.
to be able to nurture that for their child. And as a mother, when I was pregnant with my son, I in my meditations, in my prayers, I would always it was very clear to me that there was a covenant that I made with him. Like the my job is you've asked me to be your parent. I'm the best way I can honor that is for me to be better all the time. Like I can't live
Mm.
up to that agreement, that covenant that we have if I just rest on my laurels for the rest of my life.
Yeah. Yeah.
I can't do that. So I will not be fulfilling the thing that you've asked me to do. And so that's the agreement. So for me, change is an awareness that you have a responsibility to take on more of your own examination, your own choices, your own. I think that's the word change there
Mm.
is we have a responsibility. I have one. I,
Yeah.
I'm trying to put it back to myself. And so there for me, change was not so change was not a challenge to me. It's because I already set up a reason why it was okay to be a better person or to improve upon or to learn something new or
So you
practice a
set that
different way.
as a pillar inside
That's,
of you,
that's it.
like this is what I live up to. It is I will always strive to be better
I will
at
always strive
whatever I'm
to
doing.
be responsible, to self examine, and yes, and to be better. So I always had that as a baseline.
Yeah.
And the impetus of that, I think, really came when I was a mother, even though I used to be that more, I practiced that way of being or thinking when I was younger, but it really like solidified itself. It's like, yeah, this is going to be it. So for me, change was not, let's see, how's the question here? It
Well, I
was
was just
not
going to
difficult,
Yeah, I
right?
was just going to say what makes it difficult. Would you say that it's not having that center point
Yes.
of I am here to just be better, to improve.
Right. Right.
As soon as you have that center point, then you can say, "Oh, well, all right. Let's do this change. Let's go to the gym more often or let's
That's right.
yeah." And
Yeah.
when you
Or
lose
let,
sight of that center point
yeah.
of a change.
Yeah. And so again, it would be an everyday thing. And so every
Hmm.
day it was, well, here's an opportunity to do that thing that I'm being pulled toward or to examine.
Yeah.
Right. So the other part of that question is what is interfering internally that blocks positive change?
Yeah.
Well, I think you
I
answered
think
it.
the easy answer is ego. It's it's the part of us that's pretty thick, pretty dense. It's the Eckhart Tolle would say it's the mind-made self. It's the stories
Attach
that you tell
the
about yourself.
the attachment we
I'm
have.
this male. I live in the Midwest. Da, 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 da. I've got this history. I've came from this family. It's all these stories that are this cloud of me. And then when a change opportunity happens and it bumps up against that cloud of all these stories about me, those two collide with each other and they are not synchronized. The
Mhm.
new pattern and the old patterns are not synchronized. And I think that's the essence of the block right there
Right.
is, and that's the interference, the clash of the patterns, the established patterns and the new pattern.
I
And
think
if we can get
we have an
either
attachment to those,
yeah, attachment to the old patterns,
the
the
old.
established patterns. So
Mhm.
if we can either suspend some of those key stories that we tell ourselves, I'm not the kind of person that exercises, or I'm not the kind of person that eats that kind of food, or I've never done that sort of thing in my life. I've never traveled solo, so therefore I'm not that kind of person. If we can change those stories even just slightly, just that,
Right.
that 1 degree shift, it makes room for synchronizing with a new desired pattern that can it can fit. It can start being incorporated into it.
Yeah.
It sucks, when you have that dissonance with the new pattern and the established patterns, but I think it really does come down to the clash of old and new ego patterns.
There's a friend of mine that in her own words will say that she had a difficult upbringing
Hmm.
and a parent, particularly a mother who was very domineering, not liquid with her praise to her children. Just it didn't
Liquid.
flow out of her.
You
It was pretty
mean fluid?
frozen. That's
Fluid.
right. Yeah. So, and as I see my friend who is my age, I can see how her habits or her patterns probably stem from this image that she had of how to be a parent. And so I
Hmm.
can see how she practices it, but I also hear her want to not be that way anymore.
Yeah.
But the thing, like she can say the same story over and over and over again. And I will sometimes just say to her, just like at some point, when are you going to be tired?
Yeah.
Like at one
You're just
point,
kind of reinforcing
yeah,
that
is it just, are you going to be
stance.
exhausted to the point where you just, what will you do different?
Yeah.
But I think one of the things is, if the more you point the finger at yourself, and not in a chastising way, not like
Yeah.
I'm ashamed or I did a bad thing or I can't change a habit or I can't, the more you start like inflicting self pain and these negative thoughts, because she does use the word interfering with a positive change. And so that for me is an
Hmm.
interesting word choice. But the more you start being aware that you yourself are your worst, you are the challenge that you must overcome. It goes back to the
Yeah.
Bhagavad Gita. It's all of these aspects in your life that you're at war with.
Hmm.
And that that inner authority, that guide, that other form of wisdom, that parent that maybe you never had, strive to imagine what that good parent is going to say to you in a loving way, to say, now, so and so, just what can you do differently today for
Yeah.
that? And have it anchored as to why you want to do that. And so for me, my why was, I made an agreement. I made an agreement with another little entity that I needed to be a better person every day. And
Hmm.
that mattered the most to me. So that was my why. That was my anchor. And so it didn't change, again, was not difficult, because it was easy for me to then ask myself the question, what is my part in this and what do I need to do differently?
That's a really important part, is that why. Have a strong why.
Mhm.
Um, you might have a strong desire to change, but without a strong reason to change, that purpose underneath it,
Mhm.
it's it's hard to keep on coming back to the new pattern, the new pattern, the new pattern,
Mhm.
without reminding yourself, like, oh, that this is why, this is why. There was another thing I thought of, um, and that is, we've all heard the phrase "fake it till you make it." If you're trying to be different, trying to do things differently.
Yeah.
I had there was a time when I moved to a new city, and I had some work opportunities, some learning opportunities in this new city. So I moved to this new city, and I I realized one day, I just kind of popped into my head that I don't know anybody here in this new city. I could be completely different, and no one would know. No one would know the old me,
Mm-hmm.
that I was, awkward and shy and withdrawn and introverted. No one would know if I just was different.
Right.
They would think, oh, here's this extroverted, social, friendly guy. And I
Right.
thought, maybe I could just pretend to be this new way. And maybe that would stick. At least, some parts of it would stick in this new story. And I just thought, I'm going to do an experiment in this new city. I'm just going to try to be new.
Mm-hmm.
And what I realized is that's basically acting. You just step out of your old ego, the well established story and patterns, and you just step into a whole new persona and act. You are pretending. You are literally pretending to be this new person.
Right.
Um, I think without any malicious intent, if it's that spirit of betterment and you're trying to be better for more people and fulfill a responsibility that you have or feel, I think that's a good thing. It's a
Yeah.
positive use of that pretense. It's a positive use of acting,
Right.
and fake it till you make it. You're not trying to pull the wool over people's eyes. You're trying to be better and trying to evolve and trying to expand your awareness. And I
Yeah.
think that's a good use of that.
It is a good use of it. When a couple of things that you said there, um, is if you can ask yourself a couple of questions. Like the example, I'll give one for my son, and then I'll give one for the friend that I was speaking about. She's taken on a new job. One she's created and manifested. She wants this. She's doing some independent work. She's an entrepreneur, but her old patterns are coming into her working with the person she's contracted this work with.
Hmm.
And anyway, long story, I gave the suggestion to her is why introduce this new person in your life to the old version of you?
Hmm.
What's the purpose for that? Like, why would you want to do that?
Yeah.
And here's an opportunity for you to show him the person that you want to be today, that you are today,
Yeah.
into the next life. And then, so for my son, the same thing. When he's grappling with something, I would say to him, now, which age group is having this fight, this conflict
Yeah.
of you? Is it the Dominic that was 5? Is it the
Right.
Dominic
12
that
years
was
old or yeah.
12? Or is it the version of you today that's acting out into this? Which one,
Yeah.
and which one of those do you want it to be? So just even those little questions that you can ask yourself when you are aware that you want to make change. And again, I'm going to say positive. That's just the word this person used for this question, but I'm just going to say it's just change.
Hmm.
It's just change. You know, are you really
Yeah.
I, ask yourself the question, who am I today? And how do I want to show up? Do I want to show as the person that I want to be today and to be tomorrow? Or do I keep want to showing, do I want to keep showing up today as the person that I was a year ago, 5 years ago? Which
Yeah.
version is going to enter into this experience right now?
Yeah. If I was a musician and I was playing A, or if I was playing in the key of A, let's say,
Yeah.
playing this song in the key of A, and this thought crossed my mind, like, man, I wish I was playing in the key of D, but I'm playing in the key of A. What could I possibly do? I wish I was. I mean, yeah, it really is that easy to just change to the key of D. Um, but why is it hard to change to a different key, to a different vibration, to a different pattern, to a different set point? Sometimes it's that we need to do a particular progression
Yeah.
into a change.
That's
Like
a good point.
maybe there are steps that I'm overlooking here that I need to do this thing first, then this thing, then this thing, then I'll get to the vibration that I want to be expressing at. Some people can do it cold turkey, they just say,
Right.
I'm different, boom, and they chuck everything and they just reinvent themselves and they're new. Some people have to do increments and
And that's practice,
little steps. Yeah.
right? It's
Yeah,
just
the law of
practice.
practice. Like
And
I have students that they come in and they want a certain score on a test, let's say, and it's outside of their belief system. I usually test them to see what they believe in or what they don't believe in. I watch if they touch their nose. Like, do you believe in this score? And they'll go, yeah, no, I can do that. How about this score? Yeah, yeah, I think I could. And as soon as I hit that sweet spot where they say, yeah, I don't know if I could get that score. There's the doubt right there, which means, okay, we need to take some steps to get to that
right.
place that you don't quite believe you can reach just yet.
Which goes back to another answer.
That's that self-awareness part that you were talking about.
A good mentor would help too.
Yeah,
Having
yeah,
a really good confidant in your life that
yeah.
will help see the signs, as you
Hmm.
described, see the signs, bring them to your attention in a loving, urging way.
An accountability
An
partner could work
accountability
as well.
partner,
Yeah.
as a reminder. Remember, you said you wanted to do this.
Yeah. Remember why you said you
Remember
wanted
why
it?
you said you wanted to do it.
Yeah. Oh,
Mhm.
yeah. That's right. That's right.
Yeah.
Yeah, yeah. Thanks for reminding me.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Again, I'm going to use an analogy as a parent. When my son was little, he knew, I wrote it down at a very young age, what he wanted to be when he grew up.
Hmm.
And so, as his accountability person, as his parent, every time there was some disciplining or a correction that needed to take place, I'd always bring that into I'd reinforce his why for him.
Yeah.
Why is it that you need to do this step now? Well, you said you wanted to do this.
Yeah.
So before you go to do this, this is
Uh-huh.
why it's important to do it right
Why we're doing
now.
this step right now. Yeah.
Hmm.
Yeah. That's good to, I think that's a really good role for parents is to have that. farsightedness and experience, and then break it down into steps
Yeah.
for
That's
the
for them,
for the new
right?
person.
Because it only worked because he said those were things that matter to him.
Yeah.
So it wasn't what I wanted for him.
Yeah.
I mean, right?
Yeah, there you get into projection and you
There,
get
that's
into,
right.
yeah. But yeah, if you really listen to the kids, they will
Mm-hmm.
tell you what they want,
What
and
they
then
want.
you can help them get there step by step. That's a
Yeah.
good role for a parent.
Yeah.
Hmm.
Did we solve the world's
I
problems
think we
today,
just
Paul?
did. Yeah. That's pretty much everything, right? I
And
like these episodes. I like the question answer
the
because
disclaimer is here
yeah.
everything that
These
we
This is for entertainment purposes only, educational
uh
purposes only.
the hosts that have
Yeah.
presented this information to you have had experience with this and have
Hmm.
tried this on their
Your
own.
results may vary.
Your results are
None of this should be taken as medical advice or psychological advice. Yes. See my lawyer if you have any questions.
Listen, you're your own scientist.
Yeah.
And if you really want to find the answers to your own questions, it really does begin with you. But don't think you should do it by yourself. Look
Yeah.
for tools. Look for the tools out there that can help you.
Yeah. Lots of
Um,
tools these days at your
yeah,
fingertips, literally.
yeah, yeah.
And lots of patterns that you can borrow from other people.
Hmm.
Yeah.
Yeah. But my why is, and this is why I have a strong, strong connection to trust, is I know it. There is no doubt that I am connected to a larger network. I'm
Yeah.
connected to a larger network in the universe, in my individual universe. I know that. And so for me, that ability to trust the greater magnitude of all of creation is inherent in me deeply.
Yeah.
It's rooted in me.
I
And
would say the same thing that it's both humbling to be a small part of a huge system, but it's also comforting
mhm,
where you say, I am not alone. I am
yeah,
also with this huge
yeah.
system. I am in the huge system.
And it's
Synchronizing, right?
and it's fun to figure out how you can synchronize with that
Yeah.
the
That's the
bigness,
mystery, the
the
wonder
mystery. Hmm.
of the connection.
So make it an adventure.
Yeah.
Please, please have fun in it. Thanks, Paul.
Thank you. This was good. Once Upon a Quantum Leap is for your reference only. This podcast and the material is intended solely as educational information and should not be used for diagnosis or treatment of any health problem, financial, or legal advice.
You can listen to full episodes and find out about Paul and Capucine at onceuponaquantumleap.com. All reports shared on this show have been released with permission, and identifiers have been removed for individuals' privacy.
The Intuitive reports referred to in each episode are available on our website, on the podcast page, and through links in our show notes. We encourage you to listen to those for greater context.
If you're interested in obtaining your own intuitive report, go to quantuminsight.co. That's quantuminsight.co. You can listen to us on Apple, Spotify, or wherever you get your favorite podcasts.